I got a pretty beautiful morning, and unfortunately it's not crazy hot like it was on Friday, because my god, the Friday was absolutely crazy when it comes to the temperature. It was apparently the hottest day I remember seriously, hands down. And that's like, it's like June, man. It's like, wow. Well, what's gonna come in July and August? I shudder to think, really, because that was insane. What is that? Oh, nothing. Jesus, I'm jumping, you know, because that Friday, you know, I already saw something, you know, like when I heard Drake barking the way he does when he's excited, when he found something and like caught something, my heart skipped a beat, you know. And it was a pretty much an adult deer, roe deer, and it was missing an entire hind leg. So I suppose it was an injury from when the meadows were mowed, because it was really, it looked more like it chewed off, but I guess it was cut off. Probably was pretty gruesome. But given the injury, the deer was like, I wouldn't say okay, but it was like, I would expect that kind of injury to really weaken the deer. But I mean, it was not like, you know, energetic or anything, but it was like, I didn't even see that it would have, it was like sitting, and I wouldn't even notice that it's injured that way, because it was like, you know, looking around, it was like, you know, present sort of. And I would imagine this kind of injury to really knock the animal out. It's like to be delirious or something, you know. But it was as if the leg's still there, sort of. And I don't know if it was a fresh injury, because it wasn't bleeding as far as I could see. So probably must have been, I don't know, maybe a day or two old, if that's possible. I have no idea, but unfortunately, yeah, there was, like, you know, normally if rescue stations would take adult deer, then it would go to rescue station, it would be treated, and it would survive, undoubtedly. You know, if the wound would be treated, soothed, you know, like, I don't know, what do they do with these kind of wounds, but like soothed, treated, the deer would get antibiotics, and then, you know, it could never return to the wild, because, like, you know, unless it would have some sort of a prosthesis. But, you know, given the fact that the entire leg was gone, I don't think that would work. So it would stay in the rescue station and, you know, just spend the rest of its life there, and that would be a possibility. But it is so that our rescue stations, I'm not sure how it works in your country, but our rescue stations don't take adult deer, because that is the quote-unquote jurisdiction of the gamekeepers. So, Drejku, tam ne ideme. I have to be really firm now. Like, whenever I see him go somewhere, or wanted to go somewhere, it's an immediate no-go. Like, immediately I have to call him. Good boy. And I realized yesterday, if there will be something like, you know, a deer running out and Drake like looking its way, I gotta run towards Drake and grab him to prevent him from going after it. Because before I was like, you know, he's not gonna catch it, and he's not gonna catch it, but he can stumble upon a fawn that is hiding somewhere, and problem is created, you know. So I gotta prevent him from doing that, at least for the time being. And what the hell is that thing over there? Shiny thing. It's weird. Oh, we're gonna walk past it probably, but is that a balloon? Looks like a balloon. you know, yeah, I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward for this sort of little baby offspring season to pass, because I'm really, I'm quite anxious, you know, because of that. And in Hale, it's fine. Like, you see most of these walks, it's just fine. It's like, you know, we go there, we go back, it's okay. But there is still a looming risk and danger of, like, you know, something happening and we coming across something. And so yeah, I cannot wait for this to pass. And next year I'm gonna be way more prepared, we're more sort of on guard, you know, and prepared to, you know, well, I've talked about this hundreds of times, you already know, so I don't have to talk about this anymore. But yeah, unfortunately, since the rescue stations do not take adult deer, there was no other option but to call a gamekeeper, and you know what that means. If there's not a rescue stations that will take it, and if the gamekeepers is not, I mean, if I would be the gamekeeper, I would just take it and take care of it myself. But you know, I mean, probably would be a laughing stock for all the gamekeepers in the world. But you know, yeah. But of course, what that meant, and undoubtedly had to mean, was to euthanize the deer, because it's not going to return to the wild. Rescue station's not going to take it, so the only possibility is to just, you know, shoot it and end its misery, and that's what happened. So unfortunately, so you know, in a way, Drake finding the deer, I think it was a roe deer doe, it was a female, so Drake finding her was, you know, Drake'u tam nejdeme. It was a good thing. I guess you could say that, you know, because I think the deer would suffer a lot. Like, it undoubtedly would have gotten an infection sooner or later, and it would just die slowly. It cannot escape predators. It cannot move around. It couldn't have moved around really well. So that would be. Drake's in that field again. God, I cannot wait for them to mow this thing. Yeah, it would die a slow, painful death, in my opinion. Oh, that's an interesting. Are these bees or are these? No. These are. Oh. These are wasps, and this is dug out. That's quite interesting. I think someone was after their nest. And you know who does that? The honey buzzard, actually. But I'm wondering if honey buzzard would. But I mean, yeah, they have very strong feet. They're you know, adapted to digging like that, and then eating out the wasp's nest, and that's their specialization. So hell, it could have been a honey buzzard, because I can't think of anything else that would be after the wasps like that and could dig this way. That's pretty weird, unless it was a coincidence. I don't know, like a rabbit digging there and then finding the nest, and who knows. I doubt that, though. I think it was more likely something that was specifically after the wasps, which would be a honey buzzard. And hell, I've seen a honey buzzard here, like once or twice at least, so it's definitely a possibility. I love the smell of these yellow flowers. It's absolutely amazing. And by the way, this flower, I don't know its name in English, and I'm putting in the subtitles right now. This flower, its name, I don't know how it's called in English, you know, but In Czech, it has the second name means, and now I don't even know the term for that thing, but its secondary or second name is the thing that you put into milk to make cheese, you know, so that it creates the curds and it creates the lumps of cheese that you can then put together and make and prepare a cheese. So that is its second name, and the reason for that that it was actually used as that substance in the past in like traditional cheese making to put it into milk so that it sort of, what is that term, so that it, ooh, hold on a second, there are a bunch of ravens there, and this is freshly mowed, so that might be a sign that something was mowed or not, I don't know. Drejku! Tady jdeme! Drejku! Tady jdeme! Yeah, it's just to be sure, you know, because unfortunately, yeah, if they don't look out, if they don't have someone to watch for the fawns that are hidden in the meadow, then there is a high possibility, or quite a high possibility, I would say, good boy, that there is a fawn and they will just, ow, Drake, that was my finger. And they will just mow it, you know, unfortunately, and kill it. Or as you've seen with the deer, I don't know how that happened, by the way. How could adult deer not avoid a mower, you know? Like, maybe he was in shock, or maybe he was sick to begin with, but I don't know. It's just strange, you know, because I would feel like, or imagine that it would just run away from a mower. I mean, it was a road deer doe, so maybe it was staying there with a fawn and maybe it didn't want to run away. Damn, that would be sad if that was like a you know, a road deer doe like protecting her fawn, and then the fawn got mowed and she was, you know, she lost her leg. Damn, that would be very sad. I don't know. Frankly, I don't know what was the story with that deer, but rest in peace, road deer doe. Rest in peace. Yeah. Well, the flower. Yeah. So that flower, the yellow one, this one, grows very prominently in. It's actually, this one is. I'm wondering if this one is the same, because I don't think it is. No, I don't think it is. No, this is a similar species. Yeah, this is a similar species to this one. And it's the same sort of family, but these are white. These are more common, I think. And these usually grow, the yellow ones grow in like a very sunny, this is not particular ideal example of it, but usually they grow in like a very sunny, hot, dryish spots in the meadow, or by the edges of the meadow. And they have been used, the yellow ones, in the traditional cheese making as and I'm gonna write it in the subtitles, a substance that makes the milk sort of non-homogeneous, I don't know how it's called, and then you've got these lumps from which you then make the cheese, you know. So that plant has the substance in it that creates that. Just like, for instance, lemon, you can use lemon for that too. Or I'm sure there are more other substances that you can use to make that effect. But, oh, look at that. That's, God, I wish I would have my glasses, but I think you're not gonna believe it, but I think that's a honey buzzard. But I don't have my glasses with me. That calling there is buzzard, but it can just be driving away that honey buzzard, because this is its territory here. But I almost think it was, I don't know if you've seen that, but in the beginning it was mobbed away by some songbirds. You know, there were some birds attacking it, like smaller ones. So that's called mobbing. They're like gathering, like birds are gathering together to attack a larger bird of prey, to drive it away from their nesting grounds, because they see it as a threat. So that was a mobbing, and the bird was flying away. And I think the tail was quite long for a buzzard, so I think that might have been a honey buzzard, which would explain that dugout wasp nest. That's pretty cool, actually. You know, but hell, I am not 100% certain. I would need to have my glasses to really see the shape of it well, because it looks quite like a buzzard, but the tail is different. And I think it was different, yeah. But, you know, I cannot be sure. But that's cool, really cool. And I think that was really a work of a honey buzzard. Even if that wasn't a honey buzzard, I think it might have been. But even if not, I think that is a work of a honey buzzard, because that's what they do. That's what the evolution made them specialists in. So that plant has this substance in it to make the cheese. And it was used in traditional cheese making, and since it's yellow like that, it was making the cheese yellow. I think Drake's spooked by the silver thing. Whenever there's a weird thing somewhere, you know, where you wouldn't expect it. Like last time he was spooked by a canister with gasoline that was by the edge of the forest. I guess the guys who were logging the forest left it there. And he was spooked by it, and he was like barking, you know, and he was like growling and approaching slowly. And then he had to come close to it to like see, oh, it's not alive, so it's okay. And he just moves on. But the yellow, I don't know what I don't know what kind of a pigment it is. I guess like some sort of carotenoid or something. These are cool too, by the way. Beautiful plants, and they also have some healing properties. From what I remember, they are great for depression. They're great for like your mental well-being. And as far as I recall, and also I don't know the name of it in English. I can put it in there as well in the subtitles. It's, yeah, he's definitely spooked by it. Now he's running around it. Look at him. It's funny. So this one is, and I'm going to put it in the subtitles, and I believe it is used in traditional medicine, or I mean even now it's used like scientifically, actually. I'm not sure, but as far as I remember, it was medically used. Yeah, it's a balloon. It was medically used. It's a balloon, and I don't know if I'm not going to take it with me and just throw it away, because it's a trash essentially. Drake got his courage. Now he saw me approach it, and now he lost interest. So that's it's a Drake's. Yeah, I'm gonna take it and throw it out, whatever that is. Like, is that an animal, or what the hell is it? It's a weird balloon. Thought usually it has some sort of a shape or meaning. This is like an abstract sort of balloon. Well, anyway, I'm taking it and throwing it out. Throwing it in the trash container that we have. So that one, you know, we have it here again. It's like a very, very prominent flower as well, similar to that yellow one I was talking about, and it's used in to sort of support your mental well-being, as far as I recall. So it's good for depressions, it's good for anxieties, and all that kind of thing. I'm gonna make sure and put it in the subtitles, of course, so that I don't feed you with some fake news. Some fake information. I would hate to do that, so I'm gonna, of course, double check myself and you know, research it one more time. This is just, I'm just pulling it out of my mind, out of my memory, and sometimes it might be a little blurry, so, you know, I'm gonna double check and let you know. And the yellow one, sorry, I'm jumping from one to another. The previous yellow one that is used for cheese making. So when they were using it, the yellow coloring in it, I guess carotenoids or something, actually made the cheese yellow. So the cheese that was prepared that way, oh, look at that. I love these thistles. They're such an underappreciated flowers, and here I'm digressing again. They're such underappreciated flowers, but if you do have a thistle on your garden, leave at least a couple of thistles in there, because as you can see, it's such a great plant in a way that it offers so much nectar and so much feeding material for so many insects. You can see how many bees there are. So many bees, and not just bees. There are some what are these called? The nice shiny colorful beetles. There's some bumblebees, and so many bees. There's some wild bee there as well. You know, you can see also a lot of butterflies. Not here now, but you know, usually there are a lot of butterflies too. And it's just a couple of thistles right by the side of a road. It's like a what do you call it? It's like a weed, you know, like something that people get rid of. But if you do have some thistle, and they smell, I mean, if you could smell it, they smell absolutely amazing, you know. They're just gorgeous. I love the smell. It's amazing. So and they look beautiful too, in my opinion, you know. So if you have a couple of thistles in your garden, leave a couple of them out, because not only they flower for a long time, the flower lasts a long time, but it's really, really, really one of the most favorite plants of insects, as far as I could observe. Yeah, like whenever you see thistles, it's brimming with insects, you know, brimming with life. So if you have, Drejku, tam nejdeme, tady jdeme, tam ne, Drejku, tady jdeme, šup. Okay, he didn't want to treat. So whenever you have a thistle in your garden, or you can just, you know, when you have the ability to either cut down a thistle or leave it be. And I'm not saying, you know, like leave your entire garden full of thistles, but if you have a couple of them, just leave them there, let them flower, and after they stop flowering, you can cut them, cut them down, you know, so they don't disperse. Because they're very efficient when it comes to like spreading out their seed and propagating across the land. So you don't have to have an entire garden full of thistles, but before they do that, you can cut them down, you can let them flower, and when the flowering is going to finish, then you can cut them down, you know, or not. I mean, you know, depends on you really. I was not really doing that. I was not really sort of managing it in any way, and our garden is not overgrown with thistles, so it's not a problem really. You can just leave a couple here and there, maybe on the edge of the garden or in a corner where you don't really go that often, and it's really, really worth it, because it's going to attract so many bees. It's going to attract so many butterflies, which are beautiful to look at. And the bees, while they are attracted to your garden, they stop by your fruit trees and they stop by other plants, which then they gonna well, you're gonna have more fruit essentially, because they're gonna pollinate those flowers as well in your garden, in your fruit trees, and you're gonna have more fruit. So it's beneficial for everyone. Anyways, this flower, probably, I will correct myself if not, but is used for depression and anxiety and all that. And the previous one is used for cheese making, and the cheese made from that process using that plant was yellow. So you had a yellow cheese because of that. And by the way, this one also has this property, this yellow one, used for depression and anxiety. This one is also used, or not used, but if you have cows that feed on this flower, not only they're happy, obviously, because that plant is great for anxiety and depression, not only they're happy, but if they eat a lot of it, they actually have yellow milk. And I've been once in Alps in I think it was Austria probably, or Italy, either Austria or Italy, I don't remember now. And we were by a farm that was, you know, like a milk farm, and they had tons of these yellow flowers on the pastures, and the milk they sold there was really yellow, fully yellow. It was awesome, and it tasted great, I remember. So you had an antidepressant milk, naturally antidepressant milk. That's great. And I totally did not talk about what I was doing over the weekend. I thought I'm gonna have time for that, but as you can see, there were some other things to talk about, so I'm gonna talk about it tomorrow. And I'm gonna be a Mr. Cliffhanger one more time, I guess. Yeah, it's a classic me. But I'm just gonna hint that I was metal detecting, I guess. Wasn't really hard to guess, right? I mean, I was metal detecting for full 3 days. So I'm gonna talk about it tomorrow, what I found or did not found, and all that. So see you tomorrow. I'm signing off.